Okay, we're gonna go ahead in 3, 2, 1. You're on the air.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. This is a virtual meeting this evening, and we're coming to you on the Zoom platform. So tonight's meeting is both a Town Board voting meeting, which we'll do first, and then we're going to go on to the Town Board work session. But before we get started, as always, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So Bob Schnall, Councilman Schnall, would you lead us tonight? I see you have the flag there.
Yep.
And would everybody please rise? And Bob, take it away.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a moment to think of everyone who's had deaths associated with corona, also that are suffering an illness. May they get better soon. Also, I would like to thank all the first responders, medical personnel, all those frontline workers, and the people that are essential workers that have really been going out and doing their justice for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Schnall. Okay, once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today's date is Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. And for the record, all town board members are present with us with the exception of Councilwoman McDonough, who couldn't join us for this evening's meeting. With us, we have our town council, Greg Fulchetti, and we have our town clerk, Ann Spofford, here. Take the roll call for the votes for the voting meeting. Jimmy Gilchrist, our town recreation director, is here tonight also. Rich Franzetti, the town engineer, is also with us, and Ann Pasquarello, my administrative assistant, is here as well. So this is our second meeting that we're having in this fashion of a Zoom platform, virtual meeting. As you know, the coronavirus pandemic and the results of it has caused many changes in our lives, and things are much different than the way we normally would conduct business here at the town. So until further notice, this is how we're going to be having our town board meetings, as well as our planning board meetings, zoning board, and ECB board meetings as well. So they'll be coming to you virtual. The next planning board meeting is on Wednesday, September 20th, and that will be a Zoom.
May 20th.
May 20th, yeah, Wednesday, May 20th. And that will be, what's that? That will be by Zoom platform as well. So I believe Mary Ann Maxwell is going to be joining us at some point also in tonight's meeting. So if you see Mary Ann, I asked her to be part of this tonight also. All right, so the first part of the meeting is a town board voting meeting. And we have 11 voting meeting resolutions this evening. And the first item that we have to vote on is to accept the town board minutes of March 25th and April 1st, 2020. I need a motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Schnall. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the first resolution this evening is a resolution authorizing purchase of police body armor for ballistic vests. And Councilman Schnall, would you read resolution number 1, please?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, upon request of town of Carmel Police Lieutenant Stephen Kuntz, hereby authorizes the purchase of up to 22 units of body armor / ballistic vests at a cost not to exceed $30,000 from Rescue Stuff Inc., Peekskill, New York, on the New York State bid IFB/RFP number 22928. And be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to purchase said equipment. And be it further resolved that Town Controller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to effect the aforesaid purchase transactions authorized herein. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannon,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
yes,
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, resolution number 2 this evening is a resolution declaring certain equipment obsolete and authorizing disposal of. Councilman Lombardi, would you read resolution 2?
Sure. Resolved that upon the recommendation of Town of Carmel Director of Recreation and Parks, James R. Gilchrist, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby declares vehicle number 304, which is a 2004 Ford Focus, VIN number 1FAF P33Z04W166836, to be obsolete, and authorizes its disposal in accordance with town law, including but not limited to town law, section 64-2A. I offer the resolution as read.
Okay, I'll second that. Roll call vote?
Councilman Shannon,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
yes,
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 3, is a resolution award bid for Airport Park and Athletic Complex site work, and that's contract for Phase 3 irrigation water supply, and it's contract C-264. Councilman Borelli, would you read resolution 3?
whereas the town board of the town of Carmel has previously authorized the solicitation of bids for the construction of Airport Park and Athletic Complex Phase 3 irrigation water supply improvements. And whereas said bids were received and opened by the town of Carmel, town clerk Ann Spofford on May 1st, 2020, and consulting engineer Insight Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture PC has prepared and forwarded a bid opening memo dating May 4th, 2020 to the town board, a copy of which is on file in the office of the town clerk. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, on recommendation of the reference consulting engineer, hereby awards the aforesaid bid to Amity Construction Corp. of Poughkeepsie, New York, the low responsible bidder meeting all specifications at a contract price of $254,499. Be it further resolved that upon receipt of performance bond, labor and materials bond, and insurance certificates in form acceptable to town council, town supervisor Candace Schmidt is hereby authorized to execute any other and further documentation necessary to accept such bid and contract for said services. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote?
Councilman Shannon,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
Yes,
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 4, is a resolution acknowledging performance of emergency repairs for Carmel Water and Sewer Districts. Councilman Shannon, would you read 4, please?
Resolved, the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the various water and sewer districts of the town of Carmel, hereby acknowledges the emergency performance of water and sewer district collection system / distribution system and treatment facilities repair as fully detailed in the memoranda of town engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., to the town board dated April 2nd, 2020, and April 30th, 2020, each as attached hereto and made a part thereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote?
Councilman Shannon,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
yes,
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 5, is a resolution authorizing acceptance of a proposal for the ultraviolet bulbs, ballast, and controllers for Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant. Councilman Lombardi, would you read that, please?
Whereas Infomark LLC, operator of Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant, and town engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., have each advised the town board of the town of Carmel that certain components of the ultraviolet treatment system within the microfiltration processes of the Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant are in need of replacement. And whereas Infomark LLC and the town engineer have each further advised the town board that the acquisition of the aforesaid equipment and ultraviolet bulbs are exempt from New York General Municipal Law as a sole source exception. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board of town of Carmel acting as commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 2, hereby accept and adopt the recommendations of Inframark LLC and the town engineer, and accordingly authorize the acquisition and installation of replacement ultraviolet bulbs, balusters, and controllers for Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant from Fleet Pump and Service Group, White Plains, New York, at a cost not to exceed $35,813 in accordance with the proposal dated March 20th, 2020. Be it further resolved, the Town Controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to effectuate the aforesaid purchase transaction authorized herein. I offer the resolution as read.
I'll second the resolution.
I seconded by Councilman Shannell. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
yes,
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Hi, Mary Ann. Thanks for joining us. Okay, next resolution, number 7.
6,
I'm sorry, 6 is I said hello to Mary Ann. I lost my train of thought. Number
no comment.
Number 6 is a resolution accepting a proposal and authorizing purchase of installation of a comminutor equipment for Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant. Councilman Borelli, would you read 6?
Whereas Infomark, operator of Carmel Sewer District 2 wastewater treatment plant, and town engineer Richard J. Franzetti have each advised the town board of the town of Carmel that the comminutor unit located at the headworks of the Carmel Sewer District 2 wastewater treatment plant is in need of repair. And whereas Infomark and the town engineer have each further advised the town board that the acquisition replacement parts for the aforesaid comminutor unit is exempt from the New York General Municipal Law as a sole source exception. Excuse me. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Sewer District 2, hereby accept and adopt the recommendations of Infomark and the town engineer, and accordingly authorize the acquisition of said replacement parts from GP Jagger, Inc., Boomtown, New York, at a cost not to exceed $29,488.40 in accordance with the proposal dated April 8, 2020. And be it further resolved that the town board authorizes payment to Infomark for the installation of said repair parts in the sum not to exceed $6,500. Be it further resolved that Town Controller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to effect the aforesaid purchase transactions authorized herein. I offer the resolution as read, and I need to take a cough drop.
Second.
Frank, you want a cough drop?
Thanks. Thank you.
Nice. Nice. Well done. And Mike, for the future, it's called a comminutor.
Yeah, I
Also,
won't have to say it again in the future.
also known as a muffin monster. All right, who seconded that?
Nobody. Oh, Frank.
Frank signed. All right, Councilman Lombardi seconded it. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
Sorry, I got distracted by Councilman Borelli giving me a cough drop. I'm good now. Thank you.
Oh, you guys are hanging out together?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Awesome. Okay, next resolution, number 7, is a resolution authorizing filing of an annual MS4 stormwater report. Councilman Lombardi, would you read 7?
Whereas the town board has been presented with a draft annual MS4 stormwater report prepared by the Town of Carmel Engineering Department, and whereas opportunity for public comment on the draft annual MS4 report is being provided by the town board, now therefore be resolved upon the conclusion of the 30-day commencement period and the consideration of any comments submitted in connection therewith, Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to sign and file said reports as drafted by Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti. I offer the resolution as read.
I second it.
Seconded by Councilman Shannell. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 8, is a resolution authorizing amendment to the contract for engineering services for Lake Tea Kettle Park District and Lake Cassidy Park District. This is for dam design and construction administration management services. Councilman, where did we leave off?
Sorry, give it to Bob. You missed Bob last time.
Oh, I missed Bob. I'm sorry, Bob. Councilman
Okay.
Shannell,
I got
Would
the
you-
lengthy one.
yeah, would you read 8, please?
Sure will.
It wasn't
Whereas the
planned,
town
Bob.
board- Whereas the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the Lake Cassidy and Lake Tea Kettle Park districts on April 3rd, 2019, had previously awarded contracts for the preparation of plans, specifications, bid documents, and construction administration and construction management to Weston and Sampson, Reading MA, at respective costs not to exceed of $19,900 for Upper and Lower Lake Tea Kettle Dam and $9,900 for Lake Cassidy Dam. And whereas the town engineer, Richard J. Franzetti, PE, has recommended an amendment to the contract prices for each respective park district in accordance with the items of his memorandum to the town board dated April 30th, 2020. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the Lake Cassidy Park District, hereby authorizes an increase in the contract price to be paid to Weston and Sampson with the aforementioned services in the amount of $6,800, amending the overall Lake Cassidy contract price to a not to exceed amount of $16,700. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the Lake Tea Kettle Park District, hereby authorizes an increase in the contract price to be paid to Weston and Sampson for the aforementioned services in the amount of $10,600, amending the overall tea kettle contract price, including Upper Lake Tea Kettle and Lower Lake Tea Kettle dams, to a total not to exceed amount of $30,500. Be it further resolved that the town of Carmel Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt and is hereby authorized to sign any and all documentation necessary to memorialize the actions authorized herein. Be it further resolved that the town controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget transfers or modifications required to fund the cost of this authorization. I offer this resolution as offered.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thanks. Okay, next resolution. I'm going to get back on track here. Councilman Lombardi, would you read resolution number 9? It's a
No.
resolution authorizing entry into order on consent, dam safety easement agreement, respondent owner agreement, Lake Mayapack Dam.
You mean
Look how
Councilman
happy,
Borelli?
look how happy you made Councilman Borelli. Give it to Councilman Borelli. And then
I'll
you can
do it.
start over again.
All right, go ahead, Councilman Borelli, you do it.
Whereas the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, in lieu of the commencement of an enforcement proceeding pursuant to the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, has proposed the execution and order on consent addressing the responsibility for the future maintenance, repair, inspection, preparation of engineering assessments, and preparation of emergency action plans for the Lake Mayapack Dam by the town of Carmel, as well as for the proposed execution dam safety easement agreements and respondent owner/owner agreements. All such agreements to be executed together with New York State DEC and the 4 private owners of the real property comprising the natural impoundment of the Lake Mayapack waters. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the Lake Mayapack Park District, hereby authorize entry into the reference order on consent, dam safety agreements, and respondent owners agreement in form as are currently on file in the office of this town supervisor. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor, Kenneth Schmidt, is hereby authorized to execute said order on consent, dam safety agreement, and owner/respondent agreements as referenced herein. Be it further resolved that all future costs incurred in connection with the duties, responsibilities, and requirements imposed upon the town by virtue of the reference agreements to be chargeable and charged to the Lake Mahopac Park District. I offer that resolution as read.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilman Shannell. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. I want you guys to know Susie messed it up tonight.
Oh, okay. Okay.
see?
We'll blame the person that's not here.
I had the initials, all your initials next to the ones you were reading, and I had to change it. I didn't mess it up. All right. Next resolution, number 10, is a resolution authorizing settlement of litigation for Homeland Towers. Councilman Lombardi, would you read that one?
Whereas there is currently pending in the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, a certain lawsuit entitled New York SMSA Limited Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless, and Homeland Towers LLC versus the Town of Carmel, docket number 19-CV-10793, related to the proposed construction of certain telecommunication towers within the Town of Carmel. And whereas a proposed settlement of litigation has been negotiated by Counsel Greg L. Fulcetti and Joseph A. Charbonneau, now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the settlement of the aforementioned litigation on the terms embodied in the stipulation of settlement as are on file in the office of the Town Supervisor. And be it further resolved, the Town Supervisor Ken Schmidt is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the Town of Carmel the stipulation of settlement and all related documentation for the terms of the settlement. I offer the resolution as read.
I'll second it.
All right, offered by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Shannell. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell,
Yes.
Councilman Borelli,
It is with great reluctance that I have to abstain on this because I really would love to vote like the rest of the board, but I have to abstain.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Carried, 3 yeses and 1 abstention. Okay. All right, so the next resolution, this is the final resolution of the evening. Number 11 is a resolution order calling public hearing for the increase and improvement of the facilities of Carmel Sewer District Number 1, Town of Carmel, NY, 6/30/2020. Councilman Shannell, would you read Resolution 11, please?
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, pursuant to the provisions of Section 202B of the Town Law, it has been determined to be in the public interest to provide for a certain increase and improvement of the facilities of Consolidated Sewer District Number 1 in the Town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, the sewer district, consisting of the purchase and installation of approximately 450 linear feet of 8-inch sewer line, including 3 manholes, 2 service laterals, and restoration of New York State DOT right-of-way, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, what is that?
Appurtenances.
And incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewithin at a maximum estimated cost of $170,000. Whereas a map plan and report including an estimate of the cost has heretofore been prepared in connection therewithin and is on file in the office of the town clerk of such town. And whereas in order to undertake the improvements to the aforesaid facilities as described therein, it will be necessary to expand the sum of $461,536, an increase of $291,536 over that previously authorized for such improvements, and an explanatory addendum to said map, plan, and report has been prepared and added thereto in connection therewith as to the increased cost. And whereas the project has been determined to be in type 2 action pursuant to the regulations of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, promulgated pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, the implementation of which, as proposed, such regulations provide will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. And where it is now desired to call a public hearing on the question of authorizing such increases and improvements of facilities of said consolidated sewer district number 1 at the revised maximum estimated cost, now therefore it is hereby ordered by the town board of the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, as follows. Section 1, a virtual public hearing will be held at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue in Mahopac, New York, in said town on the 3rd day of June 2020 at 7:00 p.m. prevailing time on the question of increasing and improving the facilities of the consolidated sewer district number 1 in the manner described in the preambles hereof, and to hear all persons interested in subject thereof concerning the same, and to take such action thereon as is required or authorized by law. Section 2, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause a copy of the notice of public hearing hereinafter provided to be published once in the official newspaper designated for this purpose, and also to cause a copy thereof to be posted on the signboard of the town, such publication and posting to be made not less than 10 nor more than 20 days before the date designated for the hearing. Section 3, the notice of public hearing shall be in substantially the form attached hereto as Exhibit A and hereby made a part thereof. Section 4, this order shall take effect immediately. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
All right. Hey, board, just before we vote on this, there was some discussion today with respect to the date of the public hearing, the 3rd or the 10th. Greg, was there a reason why, was it you who suggested having it on the 10th or someone else?
I did just because the board hasn't conducted a remote or virtual public hearing yet. And we haven't just figured out the protocols and procedures for doing that with our IT consultants. And obviously our consultant who runs the meetings from terms of broadcasting. The actual notice would have to go out by the end of this week, correct, Ann
Yes.
Spofford? Right,
Yes.
because we have to get our notice, sorry, there's 2 Anns. So we'd have to get our notice out by the end of this week for publication next week. I was looking at the bids. They're good till July 22nd or 23rd. When we had just touched base with the consultant today, I think he indicated that, we needed to have a conversation about what the procedure would be for actual allowing the public participation. That was my suggestion. I think you have time to do it. And even with the estoppel period, I'm assuming you're going to pass the extra borrowing whenever you conduct the public hearing. And even with the estoppel period, getting it into July, you would have enough time to award the bid and safely be within the time that the bids are still valid. That was just my suggestion, push it back a week. But it's up to the board. If you pass this on the 3rd and it doesn't look like it will work out, we can always change the date to a future date. We've done that before. We just rescheduled the public hearing. Either way.
Well, in light of the fact that the estoppel period's not, we're not up against it. I mean, Kenny, are we comfortable enough that we can schedule a virtual public hearing on the 3rd? Or do you want to push it back one more week to give Dominic and the IT crew an opportunity to get out all the bugs and try it out?
Yeah,
It's not a problem.
I recommend pushing it back to the 10th.
Okay.
I concur.
Many towns are doing virtual public hearings, so I don't think it's a heavy lift to get us there. Just that we didn't discuss it, before today. And if this has to be out by close of business Friday, that was my concern. If we have an extra week to work out whatever the kinks are with the broadcasting crew and obviously the IT crew, I think we'll be fine.
So
Greg,
then,
do you have to leave the public hearing open for, because it's a virtual? Or can you close it that night and vote on it?
I know that some towns have done that simply because they don't think they've gotten the participation on the virtual. You can make that determined. You can leave it open for written comments for another period of 5 or 7 days, or whatever the case may be, if you wish. You are not required to leave it open. okay?
Okay.
We can
That was
have a
my only
public hearing
concern, if we had to
that
leave it
night.
open. And then if we couldn't vote on the bond the same night. And when is the next voting meeting?
If you could,
I'm
the
guessing
June, if we didn't do it June 3rd, it would be the 10th, and we would skip the 17th, because that would be the planning board, and go to June, I don't have the
I
calendar.
think it's the
Well, there is
24th. That would be
24th.
my only,
24th.
that
that
would
would
be my
be-
concern. If we had to leave the public hearing open on the, if we voted on the 10th, or had the public hearing on the 10th and had to leave it open,
So,
it wouldn't be voted on until the
Let's pro-
24th.
so let's project that. If we voted on the 24th, it will be in the papers by the 30th. The 20-day stop period runs on the 20th. When's your July meeting that you can award the bid? I look at the dates. And
I
if
thought it
if
was
that
July.
fall between the 20th and you have one on the 22nd. It's cutting it
Okay.
close, but you could do it.
Well,
I
I
think,
Greg, the first, you said July? We have a July
Yeah, you
1.
gotta get
July
the
1 is a
estoppel period.
Wednesday.
Yeah, but there's the 20-day
you
stop
wouldn't, you
period.
wouldn't award the bid. You wouldn't award the bid before the estoppel period runs out. Okay, so if
Agreed.
you vote it on the 24th, the publication and it would hit the paper the following Tuesday. Is that accurate? That's the
That's
earliest
30th.
one?
Right.
So the 20 days runs from there.
Okay,
So, and then your next meeting is on the 22nd.
and that's
it's
only,
close.
yeah, so
Okay?
it works.
Yeah, I'd rather do it on the 10th unless you
Yeah.
feel that there's some compelling reason. I mean, we had the public hearing on the borrowing. There was no comment
Right,
on the initial borrowing. That doesn't
Exactly.
mean there won't be some on the additional borrowing, but you can make that determination then on whether you want to keep it open for, 5 days for people to submit written comments or whatever. That's your call then, but you may close it that night and you may vote that night, as long as you've fully conducted the public hearing and noticed it. That's what I think.
okay.
And we could add
I was
what
just
we
gonna
do is could keep the email on the town webpage for the public to comment on it. But we could, I could keep the link on. So if any residents within that district want to make a comment, they still can while the public hearing is still open.
And we can
Or
move
they can
up a
make
voting.
them before.
No, I was just gonna say, we can move up the voting on this to a work session.
Or
We've been
double it up,
combining both, yes.
how
Yeah.
we're doing it.
Yeah,
So what we can do is, once we set, if the public hearing is going to be on the 10th,
mhm,
okay? We can have the public submit their comments, and the board members can read the comments into the record at the public hearing that night.
okay,
And then everybody's been heard who has written their comments in, and obviously anybody who gets on live and comments before the board. So I think you're covered there.
And all you have to do is forward those emails to the town clerk for record. If they-
And the board members can read them in too. And then it becomes part of the record of the public hearing.
okay.
All right, so we're gonna amend it to the 10th? June 10th
Yes,
for the public hearing? All right, who read that? Councilman Shannell?
Yes,
Bob, can you amend that, the resolution to read the June 10th? The 10th day of June instead of the 3rd? Just amend it from the 3rd to the 10th?
let me see where this section is.
3, section 1.
All the way down at the bottom.
First
Oh,
page section.
Okay, I got it. All right, I'm going to amend section 1 of the resolution where it reads, "A virtual public hearing will be held at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, in said town on the 10th day of June 2020 at 7:00 PM prevailing time on the question of increasing and improving the facilities of the Consolidated Sewer District Number 1 in the manner described in the preambles hereof, and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same, and to take such action thereon as is required or authorized by law." I offer that amendment to the resolution as offered.
Councilman Shannell offered the amended resolution. Councilman Lombardi seconded it. Roll call vote.
Councilman Channel,
Yes,
Councilman Borelli,
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, that completes the town board voting meeting. agenda for this evening. For the record, there were no questions or comments from the public that I received this evening for either the town board voting meeting or the town board work session. Okay, Ann?
Recorded.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I need a motion to close the voting meeting.
I'll make a motion.
So
I'll
moved by
second.
Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Shannon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, Ann.
Good
Good night, Ann.
night.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Ann.
thanks.
Have a good night.
And Pascarella, you have to stay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to open the work session.
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Shannon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, the work session is now open. First item is a review of the town board minutes of May 6th, 2020. Does the board have any comment on the minutes from May 6th?
No.
Okay, if not, we're going to move on. First item on the agenda, Jim Gilchrist, Director of Recreation and Parks. This acknowledgement of emergency purchase and installation of water storage tanks for McDonough Park. Jim?
For McDonough Park, we have three 120-gallon pressure tanks in the utility room in the basement of the building. And they dated back to 1990. They were about 30 years old. A tank had a rotted area on it, let loose downstairs in the room, flooded the room. But upon inspection, we recommended replacing all three tanks. It didn't make sense. It's just to repair the one, so we replaced all three and did necessary plumbing to get this project completed. We have the funds in the 2020 budget that will cover the cost of this repair. So I needed authorization to do this emergency repair.
Okay, is there any questions or comments on this agenda item, replacement of the water storage tanks, McDonough Park?
No.
Anybody? No? Okay, okay. We're going to have a resolution, Jim, for
24th.
the 27th?
Oh, wait, what am I talking about?
24th,
27th.
27th, I'm
May
sorry.
27th. May 27th, Jim.
May 27th.
May 27th is 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
27th,
weeks.
right.
All right,
Perfect.
good. Thank you, Jim.
And that's a work session also, right?
Yes, double.
It'll be combined.
Work session also?
Yes, it'll be
All right,
combined.
thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Jim. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Okay, great.
Good
Thank
night,
Good night, Jim. Thank you.
All right.
you. Okay.
He couldn't wait to leave.
All right, so work session, agenda items 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all with the town engineer, Rich Franzetti. So Rich, we're gonna go on to number 2 first, and this is acknowledgement of emergency repairs and services, Carmel Water District number 4 and Carmel Water District number 12.
Thank you, Supervisor and Town Board members. This is to advise the Board of Emergency invoices submitted in payment of excess of $5,000 for services rendered. Carmel Water District 4, the Lake Bulb Pump Station. Pump failure was due to the storm in April. On April 14th, B&J Plumbing, the operators for Carmel Water 4, alerted the engineering department that pump well number 3 was not functioning due to a storm event on the 13th of April. It was determined the pump would need to be replaced. There's an invoice in the amount of $8,009.84. This has been submitted to insurance for reimbursement. Carmel Water District 12, Jennifer Lane Pump Station, pump failure due to storm. On April 13th, same thing. This is the operator, Infomark, the operators of Water 12, alerted the engineering department that the motor to the pump was damaged due to the April 13th storm event. The pump would need to be replaced. There's an invoice in the amount of $5,488 for B&J to repair the pump. This cost has been submitted to insurance for reimbursement.
Okay, any questions or comments for the town engineer and agenda item number 2?
No.
No.
Frank?
Nope.
Okay, all right, Rich, go on to number 3. This is consider request to accept the proposal for the purchase and installation of a comminutor for Carmel Sewer District number 4 Mechanic Street Pump Station.
So Infomark, the operators of Sewer District 4 has alerted the engineering department that the comminutor or sewers grinder used at the headworks at the wastewater treatment plant at Sewer 4 is not functioning. The unit cannot be repaired. Infomark requested and received quotes for replacing the unit. JWC Environmental at $20,921, GP Yeager at $24,120, and Process Systems at $25,609.88. The original unit was approximately 12 years old, and the life expectancy on the new equipment is about 10. Infomark will install the unit at a cost of $2,500. This is a regulatory compliance issue, as the comminutor is currently not working, and a blockage could occur, causing raw wastewater to overflow, which would put the town of Carmel in violation of our speedies permit. There are sufficient funds in the budget for this work. We request the authorized purchase for JWC Environmental for $20,921 and the cost for Infomark to install it.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board on this agenda item?
No.
Nope.
Frank, no?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to number 4. It's consider request to accept a proposal for the purchase and installation of a thickener supernatant pump, Carmel Sewer District number 2. Rich?
So Infomark, the operators of Sewer District 2 alerted the engineering department that the pump thickener overflow needed to be replaced. The pump has been purchased and will now need to be installed. The work required for this installation is fairly complex, as the new pump is not the same make and model as the existing. It includes the removal of the existing unit, disconnecting electrical feeds, preparation of the mounting area on the floor, such as cutting off old lag bolts, drilling and installing new legs, installation of new ductile iron piping, including angle fittings, flanges, and the making of spool fittings to go into the new check valve. Infomark had received the following quotes for the installation. TAM Enterprises at $18,438. Infomark did a quote for us at $20,088. And All Make Pumps and Motor was asked to come in and give a price, and they did not. So we recommend that that TAM Enterprises be awarded to allowed to install this pump at a cost of $18,438. There are sufficient funds to make the purchase.
Okay, any questions or comments on this agenda item?
No.
All right, Rich, I'm sorry, but can we go back to number 3 real quick?
Sure.
Work session agenda item number 3. In the body of your memorandum, in the first paragraph under where they list the pricing out, it indicates that Infomark will install the unit at a cost of $2,500. And then if you go down further, there's another cost for installation from Infomark at a cost of $2,400. Is that a typo, or is it?
That's a typo, because if you look on the next page, there is an estimate for them for $2,500. So it's $2,500.
All right, so that should read 2,500?
Yes.
Okay, everybody make that change on their back up.
Yep, I see it.
Mary Ann? Okay, thank you.
Resolution is 2,500.
All right, so we're going on to, we covered number 4. Number 5, consider request to accept a proposal for the purchase and installation of signs for Lake Cassidy Park District.
So the Lake Cassidy Park District had received the attached quote from Sundog Signs to have new signs installed at Park District facilities. The quote consists of 1 large sign and 4 smaller signs. The cost for all 5 signs with installation and hardware is $8,650. Based on the procurement policy, the town's procurement policy can be characterized as a sole source provider as identified in the policy, and as such, the purchase would be exempt from competitive pricing, which means that no waiver from the Board of Procurement Policy is required. And more detailed discussion is provided in the attached backup. Lake Cassidy Park District, per the attached, would like to have these signs created, and there are sufficient funds in their district for this work. Should just be noted that Sundog Signs has completed the new sign for Carmel Town Hall, and that the Recreation Department has used Sundog for the creation of several signs throughout park properties. We've been extremely satisfied with the products created by Sundog in response to our varied needs. So we recommend that Sundog be awarded this work.
Okay. We've used Sundog, as Rich stated, from multiple signs in the town of Carmel, and they are an excellent vendor. We're very happy with their product, and I recommend that we use them for this job also. Any questions or comments for the engineer on this item,
I
No.
agree.
other than what I just stated?
Nope.
All right. All right, so we're going to move on to the sixth and final agenda item. This is to consider amendments to proposal for water tank rehabilitation project, Carmel Water Districts 2, 3, 8, 9, and 14. Rich?
So as the board remembers from last week, we had the presentation from Weston and Sampson for the storage tank rehab at the May 6th meeting. The basis of design that was presented, it talked about new tanks at Everett Road in Carmel Water District 2 and in Carmel Water District 14. This includes the need for topographic surveys, geotechnical investigations, SHPO and seeker review at each of these sites, development of a water system model at Carmel Water District 2, structure replacement at Carmel Water District 9, which includes the design drawings and specs for the replacement of the wood building structure that houses the hydropneumatic water tank. Additional design, bid, and construction services. This includes the preparation of 3 sets of construction documents, including 3 contracts and 3 sets of plans and the associated bid and construction phase services. As discussed last week, Weston and Sampson was asked to provide a cost estimate for these additional services. A detailed summary for the cost is provided by Weston and Sampson. A brief summary is as follows. For the topographic surveys for Carmel Water District 2, it was $6,400. Well, so let me do it this way. For Carmel Water District 2, the topo surveys, the geotech investigation, SHPO and seeker, the water system model is a total of $35,300. In Carmel Water District 14, the cost for the topo survey, the geotech investigation, SHPO and seeker are $18,900. And for Carmel Water District 9, the structure replacement design is $9,900. The additional design, bid, and phase construction services for Carmel Water District 2 is $41,400. Carmel Water 3, $3,800. Carmel Water District 8, $8,400. Carmel Water District 9, $600. And Carmel Water District 14, $10,400.
Rich, what's the aggregate amount of the changes, total amount?
That's a good question. I didn't give you that summary. It might be in their backup, so bear with me.
Kenny, it probably would have been a lot cheaper 2 years ago when we wanted to do this.
I agree with you. I agree. It definitely would have been.
So for Carmel Water 2, $76,700. For Lake Secor, $3,800. Mayapack, Carmel Water 8, $8,400. Water 9, $10,500. And Red Mills, $128,700. That might be no, at $28,700.
28,700,
No, it's more than that. It's their number is wrong on their table.
76, 114, 114, 200.
57,000.
57. So it's about a $250,000 increase, Rich, roughly.
Yes,
Just looking at the numbers. About that.
correct. Is it that much?
Any update in any type of grant funding?
We've submitted it to the grant writer. We have not, he has not gotten back to us. We're gonna have to get back to him to talk to him about that.
Please do. Thanks.
I just did quick numbers, adding them up. Am I close to what the total amount is?
I'm gonna add him up right now for you.
I just added them up in my head real quick, Rich, and it's fairly close to that, I believe, with the numbers you gave us. And Rich, are they going to look at the discussion we had with respect to the Everett Road water tank? Is that something that they're going to look at and
Yep.
get back to us on?
Yes, I'm waiting to hear back from them. 29,300, 29,300. The total is 158,000 is the change.
Where did 158?
Mm-hmm. 158,000.
It's all right, you only off by 100.
It was off by that much? Really? All right. Oh, well,
Susie's fault.
I'm glad. Blame it on Susie. She's not here.
I'll
right.
I'll get you a better summary tomorrow. I'll send it out to the board first thing in the morning, just so you're all aware of it.
What number did you say, Rich?
I had 158,000 because that's based on Weston and Sampson's table.
Oh, okay. I was looking at yours. Okay. Because yours is about 128.
Maybe I'm off by 30. That's why I'll give you, they say 128 in theirs. I take
Okay.
it back. They say 128 total in theirs. At the bottom of theirs and they're on page 3. You're right. 128,700.
Yep, exactly. 128,
Make sure you
700.
copy me, Rich. So
So,
just make sure you
Now-
copy me so I can have it within the resolution
You got it.
for 27. Thanks. Thanks a lot, man.
Now, Rich, these costs are included in the estimates that they gave in the presentation last week?
Correct. They included these costs. It's already included in the bonding amount that they presented to the board last week.
Okay, so, board, if we're gonna go ahead with these and go ahead with the recommendations, we'll need to get increased bonding for Water District number 2 of $1 million.
And then Water District
And
14.
then Water District 9 is 25,000 and Water District 14 is 35,000. Water District 9, I'm hoping that we don't have to bond this because the overall project is not that much, but we do have to authorize the bonding just in case we don't have the funding in the budget.
We should have everything in place for whatever we have to do.
Right, so if the board wants me to contact bond counsel, I can, so that, like Councilman Borelli said, once the bids come in, the bonding will be in place.
And if we don't
Now,
need it, we don't need it.
That's if nothing else, like if Kenny mentioned something about a 500,000 tank, so I don't know if that's included, but,
Right. So I did
I could-
speak to Weston and Sampson about that. I don't think they'll be able to put a 500,000 gallon tank in there, but they might be able to increase marginally to 320 or 350. So they would give us the new numbers on that based on 10 state standards and what you're allowed to do. And Kenny, we had spoke about that a couple of days after the meeting. We briefly talked about it. Sorry.
okay, so maybe I should wait until we get those final numbers from Weston Sampson?
Yeah. Well, I'll have it in the next couple of days. I'll make sure to follow up with them tomorrow.
Let's get the right numbers.
Marianne, what's the total amount of the increase in borrowing that we have to go out for? Do you have the approximate number for that?
It's about what, $1,050,000, $1,055,000.
$1,055,000, is that with,
1 million, I'm sorry, 1,060,000 with Water 9.
all right, and that's what Weston and Sampson's increased in costs?
It includes Weston Sampson's increase and it
Yeah.
includes the additional construction costs, I guess.
Okay.
Correct,
Yes.
Rich?
Well, and it also covers the cost of a new tank as opposed to a refurbished tank on Everett Road, right?
Right, whatever they presented last week.
Correct, Supervisor.
Right.
All right. As long as, if we're going to borrow additional funding for that project, or those projects, I should say, let's make sure we borrow enough money that we don't have to go back out again and do this over again and borrow more money.
Right.
So let's borrow enough, make sure it's going to cover all of our costs. And maybe you want to put a little buffer in there just in case. You don't have to spend it, but you may want to just have it there in the event that there is some unforeseen costs. I don't know.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about that, Rich? Should we borrow a little bit more than what we really need? And then if we don't spend it, Marianne,
Correct,
we just don't spend it, right?
right.
The
Right,
the
we
answer
don't-
to your question is yes. Weston and Sampson put in a safety factor in there. We still have to add money for bonding and counsel for that type of work. So we'll put a little extra in there, plus what we're going to do for the additional volume of tanks. So the answer is, yeah, that'll be put in there. We can borrow it, but we don't have to use it.
Yeah, I do have a little cushion in there, actually a pretty good sized cushion in there for soft costs, which includes bonding. My only concern is if we decided to go with a bigger tank and it would cost a couple $100,000 more, then that would be my concern.
Listen, if we're talking about going to a 300,000 gallon tank or a 300,000 gallon 500 or 300,000 200, it doesn't, that's not that big a difference. I only had suggested the 500,000 gallon tank for future development, future build out in Carmel. So if we don't need it, we don't need it. If the experts feel that we're good enough with a 300,000 gallon tank, then go with that. But I don't want to spend more money on another 100,000 gallons or 50,000 gallons or 150,000 gallons more if it's not needed.
Unnecessary.
If it's
I
not
agree.
necessary, let's not do it.
Understood.
All right, but I really do want, a professional analysis done or a professional opinion on that, whether or not, the 500,000 gallon tank is the way to go, or we could just go with the 300,000 gallon tank. I don't know. Mike,
I
do you?
think they said the 500 was a bit much. Didn't they
Right,
suggest maybe a
350.
350 or 400?
Yes.
You should have your storage
Probably a better
minimums
number.
for the demand based on your future numbers. That's what they should be giving you. And
Right.
that would dictate whether or not you need to increase the size of that tower, that tank, or any other ones. Whatever your future demand is for actual use, you have some portion of that under Richland 10 state standards, whatever that you need to have as daily storage. And that should dictate it. And then you'll figure it out whether, if you're within it, then you got to figure out whether you want to spend more money to be over conservative and have more than you actually need.
Okay, sounds good.
Right, and they've been provided the Hazen and Sawyer future projection flows that was given to Weston Sampson the day after, so they're aware of what our future projections are. They were looking at it and trying to get numbers from the tank manufacturers based on sort of what Greg was saying, making sure that we're looking at what the future projection is. Can we get the tank in there and the whole thing? Because we're putting in a whole new tank, so you're all correct. To get a bigger tank and do it correctly is the right way to do it. Now's the time. Do it right up front.
Okay. All right. So Rich,
Yes, sir.
who are you going to use to give you that analysis of the tank capacity? Who would you use for that?
Weston and Sampson's performing that for us as part of their services.
Part of the job.
Yeah, part of their job. Correct.
Okay. All right. And
They're just using the Hazen material to help.
Correct.
all right,
Right.
Rich, when do you feel that you're going to have that report from them on the tank matter, the tank issue?
I'm going to follow up with them tomorrow. They were supposed to have it to me this week, so I got to just follow up with them tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Please get back to us and let us know what the outcome of that is.
Absolutely.
All right. So, because that's going to depend on the borrowing. If it is going to be the bigger tank, right, Mary Ann, we're going to have to increase the spending
Right,
on that then.
exactly.
Okay. All right.
So I'll hold off on contacting bond counsel for now.
Yeah, just for now until Rich gets us that report.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody else have any further questions or comments?
Nope.
No? Okay. All right, that completes the agenda items for this evening's town board work session. As I said earlier, the public did not have any questions or comments that were emailed to us prior to the meeting. So does the board have any announcements they'd like to make? Frank, I believe you have an announcement?
So as we discussed last week, the Putnam County and the United Way offered and wanted to have a food drive in the county where each town participated. So what we were doing, our process, we're going to have it on this coming Saturday at the Geary Skate Park parking lot across the street from the Mahopac Firehouse on Route 6 in Croton Falls Road. It's going to be set up just like it was when it was done a couple of weeks ago on the 18th. Entrance to it will be on Route 6. Exit will be onto Croton Falls Road. We have volunteers. We have the Mahopac Knights of Columbus. We have Mary Ann Chalusian from town who was going to have one nearby on that day. And I spoke to her and we decided to combine them together. So all the proceeds from that event are going to go to the St. John's Food Pantry. All of us are going to be there that day. It starts at 9 o'clock till 12. The weather's supposed to be about 70 degrees, so it's going to be a nice day. And any other questions, anybody can contact me through the town or through Facebook or whatever. But anyway, we're getting some great responses. People have texted me today asking me if they can bring cash, if they can bring gift cards, whatever you're comfortable doing. You bring food. We have people there to sanitize. We have people there to collect. We have people there to distribute, to bring it to the church. So we're going to have it all set up, Bob, just like we had a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay.
All right, great, Frank. Thank you. I'll see you there Saturday morning.
Yeah, and the Parks Department is bringing us tables. So we have tables there. We're going to have a speaker for some music. So we'll have some music. It'll be a nice day. So maybe, for such a serious event, we'll have a little smiles and a little laughs with those who are coming in. And so, yeah, it should be great. It should be great.
Much needed smiles.
Yeah.
Frank, do you need me to drop those cones off, the traffic cones?
Yeah,
You
it's
still
just,
need them?
you know what, we'll talk about that. I'm going to get there on Friday. Friday afternoon, we'll make sure we have enough tables there. Jimmy Gilchrist is going to drop them off. Kenny, if you want to bring the cones there, either Friday evening or early Saturday morning, whatever you choose, and the tape. Otherwise, we should be all set.
Okay. All right, great. Any other board members have any announcements?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I just want
Is
to
there-
let the board know that I'm in the process of working on a reopening plan for town hall that I'm still working on, and Mike Carnaz has been very helpful, helping me out with this. Rich Franzetti is also giving us some input and giving me some assistance on this. But there are going to be changes to the building when we are permitted to start reopening. We're going to phase in the reopening of town hall, so everybody's not going to come back on the same date and time. We'll slowly bring the staff back, but there are going to be changes here in the building. There's going to be plexiglass shields that we had a vendor come in and we took them throughout the entire building. And there's multiple employee, sorry. I just put it in my desk drawer. There's multiple employee desks that are going to have these plexiglass shields put on them. It's still ringing. That they're going to put on them throughout the building. I ordered some stop signs today, these plastic vertical stop signs that we're going to put outside the doors of the departments, the respective departments. There's what I call theater rope. It's you mount the brackets on the entry doors and you pull that across. That'll keep the public out. So the public is not, we're going to try to keep the public out of the workspace or the work area of the staff, of the employees. If somebody needs assistance from, let's say, the building department or the engineering department, the SPO that is in the lobby, what we've been doing is the SPO has been notifying the departments that there's somebody in the lobby that needs assistance. And then we go down and with a mask on and gloves on and help the resident out. So some of the changes are that, that procedure or policy may continue when we reopen, and then gradually we may allow the public back in on the second floor, on the first and second floor. Right now, the public is not permitted into the main part of the town hall. There's a designated area where we have them wait for the department manager or the staff from the department to help them out. So there's going to be many changes. And before we reopen, I'll have a department manager meeting and I'll go over the changes that are going to be contained in the reopening report. And so everybody understands, what we're going to be doing and what changes are going to be implemented. But we are going to be changes, not going to be normal business as we were used to. Sadly, there's going to be some permanent changes made and maybe there'll be some temporary changes, but there will be changes going forward in the town hall. In order to protect the public and also to protect each other, to staff for one another as well. So when I complete the report, when it's final, I will distribute that to the town board and to the department heads and managers for their review and comment. And then we'll implement that before we reopen. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that?
No, I think we should continue doing what we had done early on, Kenny, is keeping that meeting room and having the public meet, staff there as much as as much as we can to keep them out of the, going through the double doors.
I agree, Frank. I agree with you. And part of the reopening plan is the building is going to be sanitized more. It's going to be cleaned on a daily basis. It's going to be sanitized and wiped down, doorknobs, door handles, any areas that are exposed, to either to the public or to staff members. So we're gonna ramp up, the sanitizing of the building also. There'll be masks available for the public. There'll be gloves available for the public as well. So we're going to do everything that we can do, to keep everybody safe once we reopen.
And I'm sure Mary Ann will put this all on the COVID line, right? Okay.
And there's tape. We're ordering tape also. We're gonna mark the areas of the town hall where the public cannot go beyond. There'll be tape on the floor also outside of the offices, along with the theater rope, I call it, and the stop signs. So that'll keep the public from wandering around the town hall the way they had in the past.
All right.
All right.
So
Good.
Necessary and good plan, Ken.
Yep, it's necessary. And as I said, I'll share it with everyone once we have it final. Okay, so if no one else has any more questions or comments, are there any more?
No.
All right, I just want to, before we close, I just want to remind the public that you can still ask questions. You can make a comment, but you have to do it. You have to email it to the town board. There's a link that Ann Pasquarella set up on the town's website for you to do that. You just have to click on that link, and it'll open you up to an email address to the town board. So you put your name. We need your name and what your question or comment is on the agenda items that we're going to be covering for that meeting. And you have to have it emailed to us by 6 p.m. of the date of the meeting. All right. Ann, did you have anything else to add to that?
No, just to let them know, I'll put a notice out that the next meeting is, the planning board meeting will be on May 20th. And then the town board work session voting meeting will be on the 27th of May.
Okay. All right. And it's very clear that the directions for you to email questions or comments is very clear. It's right on the
including-
homepage, Ann.
Yep. And also they could click on the link to see it live too as well. And I also added an attachment. The agenda is there as well. So they could click on the agenda. They could click on the link for any questions they have to the board. And they could also click on the meeting and see it live as well.
Okay. And we will read your questions off at the beginning of the meeting. We'll announce your name and what question you have, and then the board will respond to your question. We just want to make sure that the public knows that, because we're doing virtual meetings, that you can still ask questions on agenda items only for that particular meeting. So I encourage people, if you have any, ask them through the link on the town's website homepage. That'll give you directions. Okay. All right. If no one else has anything, the next time we're going to be meeting, Ann, is on May 27th.
Yes,
May 27th, and that'll be for a town board voting meeting and a work session.
correct.
All right. The town planning board meeting is Wednesday, May 20th.
Yes.
And the planning board is going to be meeting virtually also, same manner through a Zoom platform that we met this evening. So May 20th is the next Town of Carmel Planning Board meeting, if you're interested in that, the same manner. It'll be live streamed out same as the town board meetings are live streamed out on channel 95 Comcast or 24 Verizon.
Oh, and one more thing, Kenny, and also if they didn't get a chance to see the meeting live, we also put the recordings on the webpage too, under town videos. So each department, the planning board, town board had, the recordings will be also placed on the webpage as well. So if they missed the meeting, they could watch it also on the webpage the day after or the week after.
All right, and just one question are the meetings being live streamed on our website
Yes.
also?
They are.
They are.
It's right above it's right above the link that they click on for the town board, any questions. The link above that is the actual virtual meeting. So if they were watching tonight, all they had to do was click on that link and they would have saw everything live.
Okay. All right, great. All right, if there's no further discussions of business, then I need a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Borelli. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, good night, everyone. Be well, be well, be safe.
All right, stand by, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.